Hi everybody, it's Kendrick from Providence Tarot coming to you with your Valentine's Day messages. I'll be doing tarot and I'll be pulling a card for each sign from the Romance Angels Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. The full moon in Leo just happened and the energy was kind of intense around that time. I feel like there was a lot of focus brought to, ourselves as individuals and also others and how we might be affected by our surroundings and other people's actions and just everything that we might be absorbing. It was a lot to take, but as soon as the moon passed, I really felt a little bit better, and I did discuss that with one of my fellow readers at Shanti, Bookshop and Crystal Gallery. We've got the new moon in Pisces coming up, I believe, on the 23rd of February. But we also are closing out Aquarius season. And I feel like Aquarius season does have us put into perspective, what we have been doing. And then it just kind of gives us an opportunity to look at our environment, how it affects us, maybe our friends, right? Because you are sort of the company that you keep. Then it also is kind of like echoing that energy of romance and love and partnership on another level. More so romance and commitment, things like that, because of the fifth house of Leo and how that opposes the sun with that new moon or with that full moon in Leo energy, okay? And I believe that this card here is the sun in reverse. So this does really talk about kind of maybe even like a false sense of self, maybe. This could actually be you and your confidence being a little bit affected, maybe by the actions of others, right? With the sun being in reverse. This is a positive card because it doesn't really matter what happens. You are going to always be who you are, you know what I mean? This is a card of coming maybe like a false start. Maybe there's a misunderstanding in something as well, right? It is also talking about bringing something to light or bringing something to focus that actually might be a little unsavory. Or it might be something that, you don't really wish that you had to take a look at with the sun being in reverse here. This is for everyone. So this is definitely saying like there's some attention being brought to a situation, but it's not necessarily positive attention. But the fact that the attention is being brought to the situation is a good thing, because now there's something that needs to be dealt with, right? With this being a 10, it's a 19, it's number 19, it's a 10, so it talks about the responsibility to acknowledge something, right? A completion, a beginning. It's talking about to acknowledge something within oneself, right? Because Pluto is exalted in Leo. Leo is ruled by the sun, so this is, a very dignified position, very dignified card, right? Also, this is just talking about confidence as well. You know what I mean? It's talking about your confidence and how you allow that to probably be affected by everything that goes on around you. You know what I mean? You might even need some rest, right? Some of you guys might have even might need to take a little bit of a rest. This kind of even has to do with like false travel, right? Because it's a 10, so it's related to the Wheel of Fortune. This could even be a missed opportunity with the sun being reversed here for some of you guys and gals, right? Yeah, but the sun definitely brings some things to light, whether they're positive or negative, but things that might have even been hidden being brought to light. That's why that Pluto is exalted there. So we're taking a look at some things that were already there, right, to begin with. You know what I mean? But now we're just seeing something for what it really is, whether it's positive or negative, and the action that you take based on that, you know is the next step. Or maybe not taking any action is where it's at, because that's potentially why the sun is in reverse. You know what you see in front of you, but you don't have to do anything about it really, because the situation is what it is. You know what I mean? I feel like that too, right? You kind of have to just kind of like let time pass too. right? Because there's nothing that you can do. This is fixed and it's in reverse, right? So there might even be a stalemate. There's a little bit of some stubbornness going on here. It's like two parties may not even be moving. You may not even be moving, or maybe the movement is depending on another person's willingness to participate, because the sun also is talking about participation, right? In a way. So, this is just saying that this situation has something is completing, and the situation has manifested into something, but maybe it's not the right time to do anything about it right now. It might be in like 2 days, 3 days, a week, 10 days, something like that. But this is also saying that distance is also going to be at play, because it's the sun, and it's number 19, and that's related to the wheel of fortune, which is Jupiter. You know what I mean? But this is also talking about something coming full circle, and the full circle is already something that you probably felt anyway in your clairvoyance, but you never really knew when it would actually happen, or if or when, I feel like. Okay, so that's the card for everybody for the week. I'm going to start pulling the cards for each sign next. Aries, your card for this week is the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is talking about relationships, right? And it's talking about, relating to the truth, or understanding the truth, or discussing the truth, or talking the truth. It has to do with communication, and it has to do with communication of feelings, right? Right? This is related to the Chariot, which talks about movement forward, right? You feel like talking is going to help you move forward with the situation, or you feel like communication is the vehicle that's going to see you getting somewhere, right? This 7 is talking about, wanting to see a victory somewhere, because the 7s are talking about victory. They're talking about, all things that are, Venus, and also related to the moon, you know what I mean? So these are feelings. Someone's feelings might be affected by what they don't know, right? Because this is conflict with an advantage, and it's Aquarius, and Aquarius's motto is I know, right? This is like somebody not having all of the information, or this could even be not talking, right? Something like that, The 7s are also talking about, the ability to see your way out of a situation, right? That might be, challenging emotionally, right? This also talks about emotional triggers, right? And communication. So something that might have been said might have caused an emotional trigger, and it's going in a direction. It's kind of like side to side, right? We're weighing things out. We're weighing out what we know. We're weighing out the truth about a situation, that type of thing. You might even be dealing with an air sign. You could be dealing with an Aquarius. You could be dealing with a Libra, definitely. Or you could even be dealing with a Cancer. So this could have something to do with someone's emotions, right? Being affected by something. And then it has to be them being affected by the information that they know. You know what I mean? And it could even have to do with the fears, right? With their fears, right? They knew. It might be like they kind of like had a feeling or something like that, or it might have been like one of their fears, because the 7s do come from that Chariot energy of Cancer, which is talking about your fears. You know what I mean? And this is Aquarius, and Aquarius is talking about, change, right? Uranus is talking about, radical changes that happen, right? And then these are radical changes that come from the information that trigger us emotionally, and it's kind of like, what do I do with this? Like, there's only so much that I can handle at one time, right? Or that because this is a very right? We're going through something, because the 7s are talking about a one-on-one experience, and then it's Aquarius, so it's talking about, a sort of like collective understanding, right? Okay? And it's communication, right? And it's talking about feelings as well. So this is going to be difficult to move forward. There's not a lot of, somebody could be a little bit standoffish here, a little bit cold with their emotions, right? Because it's kind of like a card that deals with that echoing of emotion from the Chariot, but it's Aquarius, so it's like that cold feeling of emotions, right? It's like, I'm only going to give you so much, right? That's kind of like what this is, because that chariot energy is kind of like, it's Cancer, so it's like the mother energy, but it's kind of like the mother being like, come on now, right? I'm getting, you know what you did, right? That type of thing, right? And then it's a 7, so it could be related to your pleasure, right? So pleasure is something that's happening here, right? This could even be emotion. This could be psychological triggers, right? That affect your confidence or affect someone's confidence, right? You know, somebody is kind of like, because the 7s have to do with needing, right? This is like friendship, right? You know, talk to friends, maybe surround yourself with friends, because Aquarius is talking about what you surround yourself with, right? That you attach yourself to as a collective, right? To experience that collective energy, right? But this is sounding like a downtrodden kind of card, right? Trying to understand, trying to piece something together, trying to weigh something out, you know? Show me how just came on. Show me how you care, you know? That type of thing. This song is called Show Me How, and it's by Men I Trust, if you were wondering. Thank you, Aries. Aries, your Valentine's Day messages from the Romance Angels Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue is attraction. This card says you attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. So, some of you guys might be really enjoying the moment of feeling like, Valentine's Day. And you might even be attracting someone that might be making you feel, a little bit flirtatious and like you're enjoying being around them. That type of thing. Some of you might be dealing with issues of attraction, and how it might actually how it might be affecting how you enjoy this moment. You know what I mean? If you are able to enjoy this moment fully, This also talks about being sensitive to all of the things around you. Like everything that is affecting you, you're being very sensitive to it. And then this is also talking about you being attracted to all things that are sort of like healing right now at this time. And you might even be feeling like this person that you are around is going to help you heal from something, or they are in some sort of like way that they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't realize that they're doing it. Or maybe you just need to put yourself around things that are beautiful, right? That are going to help you heal, okay? And maybe this is just you kind of like enjoying the moment that you have with someone right now, or you are really understanding what someone or what something, an experience means to you, right? And that's affecting how, the magnetism, right? How you are attracted to each other right now. Or how you are attracted to them, or how they are attracted to you. It's the awareness as well, of the attraction and what that dynamic is right now. And there might be a shift in that, okay? With that 7 of Swords. Taurus, this is your card for this week. Let's see. Oh, okay. So this is Sun and Gemini. So this is bringing the focus to some communication. This could be ending a cycle of communication, or the topic of communication might be over. It's kind of like I don't want to talk about it anymore. End of discussion, it's over, that type of thing. This could be some of you closing out cycles, and disagreements and things that you might be having with siblings. You might have been having these, some sort of like arguing, or just malcommunication with siblings, right? That type of thing. For some of you, this could be, the end of a career phase for you, because it's a 10, so it's related to that 10th house of Capricorn, you know what I mean? This could be the responsibility of you acknowledging the truth, right? Paying attention to something that has been brought into focus for you time and time again. We're talking about multiplicity. We're talking about getting from one place to another. We're talking about truths, many different truths. You know what I mean? We are talking about an ending that brings on a new beginning, right? This 10 is also talking about, everything that you experience thus far is not the only thing that you're meant to learn or you're meant to experience. You know what I mean? You're meant to have other experience. This does talk about a gradual process, right? Because the tens are talking about processes. They're talking about processes from start to finish, right? So this is definitely the completion of something that you may have been going through. This could even be some paperwork, right? This could even be some court stuff, right? This could be something talking about, you know, um, children in terms of court, right? Like, custody, that type of thing, rules, or it could even be dealing with, you know, a situation with, in terms of your child in school or something like that, right? Because it's like a 10, right? But then this also is just talking about the end of a situation. You feel detached from it, right? Because it's Sun and Gemini, so you could be definitely be trying to detach yourself from a situation that might have been an ongoing focus for you. And finally, you've exhausted yourself. You feel like you just can't even really like look at it really anymore, Taurus, right? Okay. Taurus, this is going to be your Romance Angels Oracle card for Valentine's Day. Healing family issues. Wow. Okay, so you did get that Ten of Swords, right? So we are talking about family stuff too, because it is a 10, you know, that is kind of like related to Capricorn energy, Gemini and children, right? How you might be connected to people. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So Taurus, you know, sometimes we have these subconscious issues that lay dormant, right, in us, right? And then they come out. They're triggered by people, they're triggered by experiences that we have, epiphanies that we might be having, certain things like that. You know, we might experience another person in our life that just sort of like makes us think of things or brings up things from our past, or, you know, it could be anything, right? That's just kind of like how spirituality works. If you're woke and you're aware, right, it doesn't just have to come from people that, you know, you feel like you're traumatized by and you have to learn from that trauma. It could come from you just, you know, where you come from. And your family is kind of like the first society that you experience. They give you all the rules and the regulations and the guidelines and show you everything that you need to know, right? And then they're kind of like the people that you enlist the trust to, right? You give the trust to, right? You feel security with them. But you know, they also have issues that they're dealing with. So when you realize that you're affected by the issues that they're dealing with and their karma and what they're healing from, you are affected by it, right? It leaves a mark. It leaves an impression. It leaves a kind of scar, depending on whatever the situation was or is, because it's an ongoing thing for you, for all of us, right? Family issues. Because you have so many different family members. You have two sides. You have your dad's side, you got your mom's side. You know what I mean? So there's a lot going on there. Just like there's a lot going on in the world, and we have to like kind of like pull away from that energy. Sometimes you have to pull away from your family. And maybe you pulled away from your family for a long time. You know, maybe the end of not talking is the beginning of talking, right? Or something. You got to start somewhere. Mother's Day, right? Father's Day, birthday. Those are really good times to actually start a healing process. It is, right? And your message is just saying that, you know, when you start dealing with those issues of love, right, and self-love, because we're talking about that right now, Taurus, in a fixed season, right? Because the fixed signs all have something to do with the love of the self, right? That attention and that focus being brought to the self. And there's so much of the self that is adopted from the family that you come from, right? So you're healing from those issues, and you are going to start to realize what you need to let go of. And once you start to let go of things that you've been needing to let go of, right, with that Ten of Swords energy, you'll start to see things come into focus for you that was blurry before. Gemini, here is your tarot card for this week. The King of Cups. So, Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, you could be dealing with a water sign person, male, female, or non-conformist. It could be Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, but this energy is talking about the power of transformation, and it talks about the strength of your emotions and the grip that it has on you a lot of the times. And this talks about the fear of facing your emotions, right? And this talks about addictions. It talks about hidden things, you know. It talks about what you put on the surface, because it's 1/3 of Libra, right? And it's Scorpio, and it is actually an air quality attached to the water card, right? So we're talking about introspective feelings. We're talking about going in and having the introspective thoughts that trigger the feelings. And it's a very clairvoyant card, and it's talking about being aware of your emotions and other people's emotions, and how you affect their emotions and how they affect yours. It's a very, very powerful card, the King of Cups, right? He's more mature in the realm of feelings. He's been through a lot emotionally, right? So he's had a lot of different feelings to cope with over time, right? Because he's the last water card. He's Scorpio, you know, so that's Pluto. That definitely is talking about time. It's also talking about the density of the emotional awareness, right? You know what I mean? And it's talking about, you know, it's like when you're on land, you're dealing with gravity, but when you're in the water, you're dealing with, like, you know, the density of the water. You know what I mean? And it's almost like something is being suffocated because the communication is being held back, right? In some kind of way, because, like, the King of Cups is 1/3 Libra, right? But we're looking at the focus of the cup, right? So what's behind him, was sort of like hidden, that part, especially with him, is the air quality of the Libra, right? Wanting to relate, right? Wanting to process, wanting to talk it out, but not knowing where to start, not knowing where to begin, not even really feeling like, you know, deep down, you're not really confident, you know, with what you're feeling, really. Because, you know, they say that when the sun is in Libra, the sun is like, the sun is in its fall, right? Because it's exalted in Aries, so it's in its fall in Libra, so it's in like a weakened place, right? It makes it a little bit more insecure in the thought patterns. So you might be having some insecure thought patterns, right? And it's triggering you emotionally, and you're dealing with something that you may have been dealing with for a long time. You know what I mean? And look at how the water is coming up, right? But this is also talking about compassion that you show to yourself, because the King of Cups being Scorpio and being ruled by Mars and Pluto is talking about the self and the emotions and how you understand your emotional process. So we all understand our emotions a little bit more every day, hopefully. But this is talking about mastering your emotions, right? It really is. And, you know, whatever it is that you're dealing with, you know, you're just going to have to really start to heal, because this is a card that symbolizes healing, right? So you're healing from something. And this could even be a person that comes in and offers you healing, you know, Gemini, for some of you people out there, right? But if this is you healing, okay? Gemini, this is your Valentine's Day message from the Romance Angel Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. Okay, so for some of you out there who are already kind of like working on something, right, that you're involved in right now, I'm not talking about anybody that's broken up, right, that you know you're broken up, right? Not And if you guys are not necessarily broken up, this could be saying give it a chance. But if you know that you are, then it's kind of like not that. So give your relationship a chance, work on your partnership. This can also not even just be like intimate relationship that involves sex. Relationships don't always involve sex. Sex is one aspect of humanity or your human experience. That's one thing. One thing. Think about all of the things that exist outside of sex. It's amazing. Blow your mind. Okay? So work on your partnership. If it's a friendship, if it's, you doing a project with somebody that you're passionate about where things may not be going right and you might be experiencing a power struggle, whatever it is. It could be talking about a power struggle within a relationship. And that's what needs to happen because the King of Cups is talking about power, right? We're talking about the relationship. It's 1/3 Libra. You know? Sometimes, that ego gets in the way from us relating. And the King of Cups sometimes is doing that. Right? But then it's also kind of like our emotions sometimes get in our way. That's why it's like that's why it's of a yin polarity or it's yin quality, right? Negative polarity with that water quality. Because the emotions really can get in the way. And I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week about controlling the emotions, right? And controlling the emotions is good in certain scenarios, but to try to teach yourself not to have feelings is dangerous. You know what I mean? Because it's like, would you help somebody who was in danger if you're blocking, hiding? Would you have sympathy for animals? It's just like everything is relative. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we were just talking about it, but it's kind of like you have to allow yourself to heal, right? And that's part of relating to your experience, right? Because a healing process does want to happen, right? So you have to heal in order for the relationship itself to heal. So we're talking about that, right? So working on your partnership is working on the partnership with yourself because look, there's an angel right there and there's a person hugging the angel, right? So it really is kind of like you working on your relationship with yourself because we are talking about the Leo full moon. The Leo card, the sun came up, but it was in reverse. So we are talking about that. But we're also talking about healing from the relationships that have triggered certain things to come up for you that you needed to look at. Not about those people, right? We don't want to make it about them. They have their own lives. Thanks, Gemini. Hi, Cancer. This is going to be your tarot card for this week. One day to Valentine's Day. Let's see. I'm a Cancer moon. Oh, honey. 5 of Cups. Well, it resonates, right? That 5 related to the 5th house of Leo, but also related to the Hierophant Major Arcana number 5. But it's Scorpio, so we're talking about fixed energy, stubbornness. We're talking about what is being revealed through the feelings, right? The passionate feelings, right? It's talking about the exposure to one's vulnerable side, vulnerability, right? You opened yourself up, you made yourself vulnerable to something, right? Now these cups have spilled over, right? Because you weren't as careful as you normally are. You know what I mean? You weren't as careful, right? And then it's also talking about secrets and things like that. That red liquid in those cups are the secrets coming out when something is spilled out, right? That type of thing. This 5 is talking about conflict, missed opportunity in terms of, wanting to relate to something in an intimate way. Because this is a committed committed, intimate relationship, something that involves time, something that also involves principle, right? And we're talking about a feeling of lack, okay? It being a 5, this is how you believe. And, this is what this is your feelings. You believe this feeling, right? You really believe this feeling very deeply. So much that it almost kind of like your reality, but it's not. So you have to not make this feeling your reality. We can't get stuck in this emotion. This is Mars and Scorpio, right? So this is like a rulership position, exaltation, right? Ruled, okay. And then this card is also talking about, the vengefulness you might be feeling, the revenge you might be wanting. It's not like you're going to do anything. It's just what you're feeling, right? That type of thing. Worst feeling come true, because it does talk about the materialization of something in a way, but this is the materialization of a feeling. And it's kind of like my worst fear, right? Hey, it resonates. I'm a Cancer moon. The moon that was just in the 5th house of Leo, right? Mars and Pluto. Destruction, destructive, right? Ego, instinct, sexual, right? Sex is an issue here. You might even be feeling like not as, because the 5s are talking about worth, right? So sexually worth, right? Your sexual worth. How are you valuing yourself sexually, right? That type of thing as well. Are you or are you not getting it, right? Right? But don't, you can't actually base what other people, right, is the 5, what other people might be doing or might have. Don't base your emotions or your happiness on that, basically. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and go into your Romance Angels Oracle card. Cancer, here's your Romance Angels Oracle card for Valentine's Day. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you've guided to take. Right, so you got this here. That feeling of emotional complacency or feeling stuck emotionally, it's saying no. The 2 cups are the reason why you should make the effort, right? Because there's something that you can have with this 2, right? There's something that you'll be able to relate to out of this mini loss or this feeling of loss, because it is saying that something has been destroyed or something has changed, something has transformed, something has moved on, something has shifted, morphed, that type of thing, that. But, what it's morphed into is worth having, worth looking at, right? It's a transference, right? So great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take, right? So come out of your shell, right? That's what Make the Efforts is talking about. Come out of your shell, right? Because you could easily get stuck in this place of being sad, right? But what were you like before that moment that you were sad? You were sad about that thing that you found out about, right? And just in that moment, Mars, wow, pow, it got you just like that. Just that simple, just that easy. Are you going to make it that easy for it to get you? You know what I mean? So now you have to make the effort, right, to not allow yourself to be so affected emotionally, because I was just talking about that. So this is a case when it's right, when it's good. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when something is just like so detrimental for you, the emotional intensity that it causes is detrimental to you. So now you really do have to realize, you have to understand and learn how to control your emotions, and how to control your emotions might actually have to do with dealing with them and not suppressing them. So that's how you control your emotions. You deal with them, right? So make the effort. Come out of your shell. Do something that, is going to be fun and cute and make you feel good about yourself. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to do anything crazy. But you know, sex is also something that we're thinking about, right? So make the effort if you wanna, you know, come out of that shell sexually, make the effort. That's another thing that we're talking about here too. Cancer. All right. Thank you. Leo, this is your card for this week. Let's look at it. Oh, yes. The lovers, honey. Okay, work. So, this is Mercury, right? This is, you know, Gemini energy. You know, it's also the sixth house of Virgo, right? So this talks about compromise. It talks about cooperation. It talks about coordination. It talks about movement. It talks about participation. It talks about friendship, right? And the beauty of friendship, definitely. Mercury is also talking about optimism, right? And harmony in a way. Because the lovers, you know, it takes two people here on this card, right, to produce this energy. So it's talking about the magic, right? That's why the magician is also Mercury. So it's talking about the magic of energies coming together to reproduce, right? Reciprocity as well. To be reciprocated, right? It's like when the energy is being reciprocated, it's magical. Something comes from that, you know? So you're looking at that. You're focusing on what's easy. You're focusing on what is you know, what flows, right? You're adapting to changes. You're letting things just kind of like guide you. It's almost kind of like you're not being rigid about things right now. You're kind of letting things flow. It's good because you don't want to get in your way. It's kind of like just being open to change and really just seeing what the magic of spontaneity can bring, right? The magic that spontaneity can bring, because it's like when you are limitless, like the lovers, right? Because I'm talking about that limitless feeling, right? We're coming from the five of the Hierophant, right? When we're talking about limitations, now we're going to the lovers where we're talking about being unlimited, right? Because this is Mercury, right? We're not talking about being limited. We're talking about multiplicity as well. So we're saying we're letting a situation change and flow and switch and flux, right? And we're not getting in the way of that happening, because we know that we'll experience more pleasure if we allow things to happen that are happening naturally, you know, naturally occurring, you know, because the lovers is talking about energy that is naturally occurring, and that's why compromise happens, you know what I mean? When it starts raining, you get an umbrella out, honey, you put it up, or you put a hood on your head or something. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, this is good. So you might just be having experiences that are pleasurable for you, very pure, very sort of like young, youthful, you know, because this talks about youthful energy as well. You know, maybe you're reconnecting with that, and also creativity in a way, right? You know, this could even have to do with like writing. It could have to do with some level of you know, putting pen to paper or something to paper or something to pad, you know, because it talks about the hands and that type of thing, right? Hands are, you know, kind of like a focus here. You can even see it in the photo, or in the image, I should say. But yeah, a hand. Just remember that. Leo, this is your Romance Angels Oracle card for Valentine's Day, darling. Let's see. You deserve love. You are lovable. Yes. You just had your full moon, right? Wow. This is really crazy. Because Leo, you know, my Venus is in Leo, and, you know, hey, I'll take it. Venus, okay? We're talking about Valentine's Day. Anyway, this is back to you, us. You got the lovers from the tarot deck, you know, and this is the first filming of any of the signs that I'm literally going to put the cards right next to each other. They're going to be laid on overlaid. You got the lovers, and then from the Romance Angels Oracle card deck, you got you deserve love. You are lovable. So it's all about love for you, Leo. This is amazing. Look at this arrow, right? We're talking about Cupid here. We're talking about Mercury. Mercury is Cupid. Hello. And then look at her with this arrow here and these kids and these babies. I was talking about optimism and stuff. Going with the flow. Look at that. Oh, well, look at that water. Look at that stream. Okay? That current. Consistency is the name of the game here too. You know what I mean? And it really is just talking about like going with the flow. You see, there's many different opportunities as well, right? Look at all of the different versions of Cupid that are in this photo, in this image. There's a large one, and then there's four others, right? And then they're going with the flow of the water. They're actually pointing the arrows in the direction that the water is flowing, right? So you're being led, right? You're being led to kind of like have these experiences that you're having. You know, working with some quartz crystal, even though it's like quartz or like even rose quartz, right? But clear quartz is good too, because that's kind of like the frequency of water. You know what I mean? You want to deal with that. Maybe even have some water around you. I actually like to play the sound of water. You know, just go to like YouTube or something. Or you could get a fountain. They have them at Michael's. Not plugging. You know, I don't work for those organizations. But Leo, you deserve love, darling. And I feel like this is good for you. You know? We did get your car. It was in reverse, but you know, it just fell on the floor and it was in reverse. So even when I flipped it over, it was in reverse, or it wanted to be. But it's turned up now. And the sun is really bringing focus to the fact that you do deserve love. But you know what? The love that you deserve is your own, right? You know that song? Stop, the love you save may be your own. Thanks, Leo. Virgo. This is your tarot card for this week. Ooh. The Devil. Well, you know, this is a 6, right? So it kind of is that energy of you. Maybe you guys are like working kind of harder. Maybe I feel like you're being stubborn about something. The Devil is also talking about like the time that you spend doing things that may not be worthwhile, right? Because it's talking about a 6. And Virgo, you, the 6th house, is talking about doing things that's worthwhile. And the Devil is saying that there might be something that you are doing or that is occurring or is happening around you. Okay, Virgo, and are you dealing with what am I talking about? Who got the lovers? A Leo? Because a Leo got the lovers, right? So if you know a Leo, maybe there's something going on with that, right? But you know, this is saying, are you burning the candles at both ends? Are you waiting for something to be over? This could be talking about participating in something that you feel like you don't want to be participating in and having these like heavy feelings about it and waiting for it to be over, but it seems like it's never ending. Because, you know, it's a 6, so it's talking about that mutable energy of something that wants to finish and wants to complete but hasn't and isn't. And the Devil is talking about that energy of Capricorn wanting to initiate something, right? So you could even be feeling a little bit stuck in between. You could be feeling stuck. And the Devil does talk about that as well. You know, this could even be talking about mastering your thoughts, right? Being that it's a 6, it's related to the Lover's card, which is Mercury, right? Or mastering like how you spend your time, you know, because how you spend your time is important to you, Virgo, and the 6th house. And it's also important to Saturn, right? But then the Devil is Capricorn, and it talks about, you know, what you do with your time, right? And this could even be talking about how other people take up your time, because it is echoing that that sentiment of the lovers, right? So it's talking about the sharing of that time, right? And this is not magic happening like the lovers. You know what I mean? This is like this is the opposite of light magic. This is like dark, not good. That's why this card, it looks like this. And this is something that you would see in some dark magic stuff, Virgo. I think you need to do some cleansing. You know, you need to release yourself from that which is holding you down or holding you back. Or maybe this is you holding something down, right? Like the responsibility, right, is ongoing, right? You feel like you might be defending something too. You might be defending behavior, or you might be defending someone's bad behavior, right? You could be defending someone's bad behavior that you're caught in something with, right? It could be that. Definitely. You could even be defending your own bad behavior. Sun, moon, and rising, right? Sorry, I'm drinking water. But you know, it also talks about the realization of something, right? The devil is number 15, and it is the first stage of spiritual enlightenment. So you're realizing that something has got to cease, right? You could even be feeling like somebody is watching you, or somebody's paying close attention to what it is that you're doing, or somebody's paying close attention to like just the information that they're pulling from you in their dealings with you. Somebody could be talking to you for the wrong reasons, or somebody could be getting involved with you for the wrong reasons. That's all I'm saying. We're going to pull your Romance Angels Oracle card. All right, Virgo, you have the Devil card. It could even be talking about oppression from work, or just feeling the weight and the responsibility around work. But let's look at your Romance Angels Oracle card. Past life relationship for some of you, because this is very specific. You have known each other before. And you know, a past life relationship could even be a phase of your life that you had, right? Actually, right? One here in your waking life, that somebody was involved with you at that time, and now in this new life that you've changed, maybe you have a career change, or maybe you moved to a different place or something like that, or maybe you're just, and maybe you're not married anymore, and you were dating this person before you got married, and then you got divorced, and now you're seeing this person again. It could be any of that kind of stuff. But some of you have known someone before that you're getting involved with, right? Or you might even just be feeling like someone that you know, or someone that you maybe even have a crush on, because like you probably wouldn't think that you had a past life relationship with someone unless you had romantic feelings for them that were sort of like triggering you know, a sense of attachment to them. And it's kind of like, why am I feeling attached to you? Like, I don't like, well, I don't even like really like, we're not even like that close to each other here. But it also could just be like, you know, maybe you actually do feel like you have a past life relationship with someone, and you could have even dreamed of, you know, some situation of being in a relationship with someone in at a different time. You know, like even if it wasn't like now, and you had like this dream of, you know, being in a relationship with someone, or having an involvement with someone in your dream in a romantic way. It's kind of like visiting that energy in another place and time, right? So it's kind of almost like that past life relationship type of thing. So pay attention to your dreams and things like that. Yeah. Libra, this is your card for this week. Let's see. I'm anticipating. Okay. Right. Nine of Wands. This is Moon in Sagittarius. You know what I mean? And this is a card that is definitely related to the Moon, because it's a 9 and Moon is 18, Major Arcana. And it talks about, you know, two sides of a situation, right? It also talks about evolution and changes that might be happening within a cycle, right, of growth, you know, and how you adapt to the changes that happen within a cycle of growth. You know, what's hidden, what are the fears, what are the emotional triggers, that type of thing, Libra. And then we're also taking a look at what we want, where we see ourselves going, you know, what our actions are founded on, you know, the principles, the basic things, that type of thing. What are our basic principles? Where are we coming from with this? Why are we doing the things that we are doing? And that is what that Sagittarius energy really kind of talks about. Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Because here's the information. This is why. And this is what you should do too. It's kind of like that, right? It's Moon in Sagittarius. So it is talking about, you know, creativity. It's talking about growth, you know. And it is also talking about detachment in a sense, right? It's almost like you have to detach yourself emotionally and focus on your goals, whatever that means for you, right? Not be emotionally affected. Yeah. Realize what it is that you do, why you're doing it, why you've been doing it all along, right? You know, because Sagittarius energy is talking about being able to see the truth and going towards that truth, right? So you're actively moving towards your truth, I believe, here, you know. Whew, it's getting warm. But it is also talking about you had an epiphany too. So there was something that you found out, because it's talking about information and knowledge with this 9 here. It's, you know, related to the 9th house of Sagittarius, you know, and it's talking about foundations as well, right? Founded, you know, what are your goals founded on? What are the ideals that your goals are founded on? You know what I mean? If something doesn't fit, you know, then it just doesn't, it's not around you, you know what I mean? So you're taking things out of focus that don't need to be in focus, and you're putting things into focus that need to be put into focus, that type of thing, right? Okay, Libra, this is going to be your Romance Angels Oracle card for this week. You know, it's Valentine's Day, so, you know, let's see what you got. Ooh. Codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. Well, that is something that is so crazy that is coming up, Henny. Oh, so some of you guys could be dealing with Leo energy because there's a lion there. You see what I mean? This is very Venetian as well. You know what I mean? She's looking off towards like this water, this pond. You know, some of you are dealing with someone that is dealing with addictions that you probably love, right? You probably have some codependent attachments to them, right? Look, and this 9, look, I did it for Leo. I'm doing it for you now. You know, detaching from that codependency here, right? Because you had a realization, right, that this codependency was happening, or you're detaching from someone that has a codependency, right? That type of thing. You know, codependencies come in many different forms, right? Like people, right? Like everything that exists. So, you know, whatever the addiction is, it's affecting whether it's your addiction to, you know, video games, right? Your it could be your addiction to, you know, drugs, alcohol. It could be your addiction to your friends. Maybe you spend more time, you know, with your friends, that type of thing, than your lover. And it could also be a codependency to an emotional pattern, right? It could be that a habit, right? Because codependencies are also kind of like habits too, or they can kind of like foster habits or cultivate or grow habits, build habits, you know? And the 9s are also talking about that because it's related to the hermit. So we're talking about that kind of like, you know, a habit in terms of going back to the addictive process of attaching to the emotions, always going there. It's kind of like satisfying something for you. It's like that toxic energy, right? When you're used to the toxic energy, then you may even revisit it just because you need to get that fix of the toxic energy, you know? And then it's also talking about other people doing that too, right? And it's affecting, you know, maybe your relationship or maybe the romantic side of something that you have with someone. You know, you don't have to be in a sexual relationship to experience romanticism with someone, right? Because you can experience romanticism with yourself, honey. Look at, she's doing it. She has to, because she has a codependency. Right? So, you know, whether it's you that has the codependency, Libra, or it's the other person that has the codependency, or maybe they have the codependency and you're codependent on them, you know, it could go either which way, right? So we're dealing with that. You're dealing with that. And if you have to detach, right? From something that was once familiar to you, not moon and Sagittarius, right? Because we're familiar with the moon. That's the mom energy. You're coming from a place of feeling nurtured or a place of security, right? But you're in that nine is talking about that epiphany that you're going to have to distance or move away from that feeling or that place of security, right? I'm no longer secure with this. So I have to block, I have to move, I have to go off, I have to focus on me, focus on my goals. It's a nine. It's talking about completion. It's a cycle, right? Growth, right? We're talking about maturity as well. I realize what I need to do, so do it. Scorpio, these are your tarot messages for this week. Let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, wow. This is good. Look at you. You got the Six of Cups. This is Sun and Scorpio, and the Sun came up, it fell out for everybody when I was shuffling the deck. So this is talking about reminiscing, right? Thinking about the past. It's also talking about children, You're making a habit out of dealing with your emotions in a positive way, one that is going to benefit you, and you're realizing that there are many different ways to sort of like cope with your emotions, right? This is also a compassionate view of the past, right? It's forgiving too. You're forgiving some things, and you're also asking for forgiveness. Even if you're not like going to the people and asking for forgiveness, you're asking for forgiveness, in a like a spiritual way. This card can be very Neptunian as well. I mean, it kind of like everything says that it's not, because the sixth house is Virgo, and that's opposite Neptune energy, and this is Scorpio. But it's kind of like that idea of daydreaming or going from one place to another, right? It's weird because it's like you're looking at the past, so you're like going back. It's like that's the time travel. It's like when you experience the emotional trigger of having emotions that, or it's like when you smell something that kind of gives you a feeling, not deja vu, but it gives you that feeling of being right back in a place that you once were. It's like, the people that were around you at that time. It's like, it's so crazy, but you're not there. It's like that type of thing. So you're kind of like going back and you're thinking about some stuff, and you're realizing, well, maybe this is who I was then, and this is who I am now, because the sixes are really talking about in the moment, now in the moment, right? So you're living in the moment, and then you're allowing what wants to occur, you're letting that happen, right? So whether it's like if something wants to organically leave or come in, then you're allowing for that to happen, right? Because you're kind of like going with the flow as well, you know? Um, And I feel like you also might even be looking forward to the spring, maybe like the end of May and the beginning of June. Around that time, you might be looking forward to something. And this is also just talking about bringing focus to your children, right? Perhaps that, because this is related to children, this card here. This is also talking about maybe enjoying work, again, feeling a little bit more optimistic about work. Or this could even be talking about wanting to kind of like create, because the sun in Scorpio is very much about like creation, wanting to create some things that are going to be consistent for you and ongoing in terms of your work, right? Your work environment or your work relationships, or the relationship that you have with work, right? Because this is talking about intimate relationships. It's talking about shared resources, right? And it's talking about money in a way too. So you might be feeling a little bit better about your money, and maybe even about business, because it looks like they kind of have a little business going on here, right? They're like selling lilies or whatnot. But this is talking about purity. It's talking about softness. It's talking about optimism, right? So you're feeling better about something right now in this moment, okay? And you're valuing that experience, and you're looking forward to continuing to, because you're doing the work that it takes to sort of like enjoy this moment and heal from the past. And you're realizing where you may have been blocking yourself in the past, right? And you're like, and you're glad. Hey Scorpio, this is going to be your Romance Angels Oracle card for this week. Happy Valentine's Day, and you got passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Well, passion is something that you actually are. You're passionate. It doesn't really matter what it is that you're doing. You're passionate about it, that's for sure. And this card is talking about that, you know? And it's so funny because, with you, Leo and Libra, I put the two cards next to each other just so I could give it to you. Because this card is talking about, soul, right? And it's talking about, joyful energy, right? Singing with, letting your heart sing, you're letting your heart and soul sing with joy. This card definitely emulates that, depicts that energy, right? Two children with lilies and flowers. You better believe they might be singing. Okay. And it's just talking about happiness too here, right, Scorpio? And you might be just finding happiness in your children, right? You're passionate about that. It's talking about heart, right? Yeah, so definitely allow yourself to enjoy the things that, make you feel passionate about life. Whatever that is, whether it's your children, it's your family, or maybe it's some things that you used to do that you enjoy that you may have sort of taken out of your regular everyday life that now you can put back in, right? To kind of awaken this part of you that is going to just kind of encourage you to just be more passionate about life in general. You know what I mean? But this is definitely talking about business as well, and your passion that you have for your business, and wanting to change things, and have them sort of grow and develop, right? Because the sixes are talking about development and improvements, right? So you could have improved, your feelings have improved about something, and you're feeling newly passionate about it again in a different way. Okay? All right. It could even be a relationship, you know what I mean? For some of you that are married, perhaps, right? Intimate relationships, that would be a marriage, right? This Six of Cups, that type of energy. Reigniting the passion in the relationship this Valentine's Day. Very good for you, Scorpio. Sagittarius, this is going to be your tarot card for this week. Okay. Oh, you got the Eight of Cups. You guys know I have a lot of Sagittarius placements, But this Eight of Cups is a card that talks about loss. It's a card that talks about time. It also is a depiction of sacrifice and submission, vulnerability. Also, it talks about what you might be, the power that you might be giving up because of your emotional attachment to something that may no longer serve you, right? You might just be giving energy to something, right? Because you once were passionate about it. It was talking about the compassion, right? Compassion, unconditional love. It's the unconditional love that has the power over you in some way, shape, or form. This is talking about the strength to let go from that which has already been lost, right? The moon is waning, so it was already brought to your attention a long time ago. And now it's going down, and the moon is going to eventually go black. So are you going to continue the cycle, or are you going to let the cycle end in this phase how it's wanted to? So the phase of the moon has ended, right? We're now going into that waning cycle. So this moment is now. And this is also talking about you being in two different places in one time, in terms of how you feel about it, right? You're like, oh, I feel like this, but then it's like that too. You know what I mean? And that's troubling you. Saturn and Pisces, Saturn is exalted in Libra. Venus is exalted in Pisces. I feel like Saturn isn't really that emotional, right? But Pisces is. Pisces wants a situation to be ideal, so that it doesn't have to be triggered and affected so often. But this card is saying that you're fixing that energy of it's constantly triggering you emotionally because you're obsessing over something, and the obsession has the power over you. And the eights are talking about splendor, so it's saying that you actually know, because it is kind of like a very clairvoyant card, being that it's an 8 and it's cups. So you've known this feeling for some time. It was apparent to you, right? Maybe it even just came to you in a feeling or in a dream, or you just kind of saw it coming down the river bend, right? You've just been riding the raft. Sagittarius, this is going to be your Romance Angels Oracle card for this week. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other, right? And here we go. This 8 of Cups is talking about feelings, right? You know, have you been ignoring your feelings for a long time? Because this does talk about ignoring your feelings too, right? Being that Pisces, that energy of Pisces, right? You know, the archetype is talking about escapism, right? So this is talking about codependency, right? So the codependency is used as a form of escapism, right? For some of you, right? Or the escapism is the codependency, right? So you're like, oh, if I can just like, you know, escape in this way to get away from it, ignore it, then like, you know, that's what you're like relying on, right? But this is saying that you have to have that discussion, or you have to have that conversation, right? Whether or not like maybe there's some confusion, right? Maybe there's something that's ongoing. Maybe there's a sexual relationship that's ongoing, and you know that that it's not really going anywhere, but you're continuing to like have sex, or you're continuing to like have these intimate experiences with each other, right? That sort of like borderline this showing of love and compassion, but it is sex because it is an 8, right? And that's the 8th house of Scorpio, hidden things and sex, right? And then it's Pisces, and Pisces is definitely talking about, you know, because we can use sex as a form to escape, right? Right? And sex is definitely used as a way to show someone love and compassion, unconditional love even, you know. And it's the unconditional love that you have for for someone that actually might be the thing that has its hold on you. Not saying that you shouldn't love someone unconditionally, but it's saying that, you know, that you have for that person, that unconditional love, is really, you know, detrimental sometimes, right? Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. So, you know, talk about things. Maybe make some things apparent that aren't apparent. You know what I mean? And it might be able to get you from one place to another. You know, you're almost done with this, right? This situation is almost closing itself out. Trust. You know what I mean? And this is kind of like one of those things where you like knew it was going to be happening anyway, right? We always experience those. All of us. Not always, but we kind of like, all of us have. You know what I'm saying? Thanks, Sag. Capricorn, this is your card for this week, right? Let's see. Wow, this is your card. You got the Queen of Pentacles. This is Cardinal Earth, and this card is also talking about water, so there is something that needs to be expressed here, and there are some emotions that are involved with this experience that you're having as yourself, you know what I mean? Queen of Pentacles is a little bit of that Sagittarius energy, right? So it's talking about those goals that lie dormant or that lie within you, right? It's kind of like that fierce projection, you know? So you might be projecting some confidence right now. Or you might be feeling very confident about the goals that you have set in place, right, in terms of business and finances and just, having some things change for you that are going to really influence the quality of your life, or the quality of the how your business might be thriving, you know. Um, Also, the Queen of Pentacles is talking about, money. It's talking about what you might be giving to a situation or what you might be getting out of a situation, right? Because it's Capricorn, so it's talking about the consumption of something. It also talks about time, right? The time that you spend doing things, okay? It also talks about, how you are, how things are developing, right? Because the queens are all related to the Empress, and so the Three of Pentacles is related to this Queen of Pentacles, right? And this is talking about how you are, applying, yourself. It talks about what you might be building. It talks about your finances, the finances that you might share with someone, right? Because the threes are also talking about a shared experience within an environment. Okay, so you're thinking about what it is that you provide to an environment or provide to a shared experience. That is valued. Worth. We're looking at numbers. We're looking at money. Okay, all of those things like that. This is also appreciation, right? It's kind of like you're kind of like expressing your appreciation perhaps for someone and what they provide for you, right? With that Queen of Pentacles energy being there, because it's feminine and it's earth, right? All the earth signs are feminine anyway. The earth sign energies. Yeah. I feel like with the Queen of Pentacles too, if you're like a boss or somebody that's in charge, then it's kind of like, showing your appreciation or telling people how you appreciate them might actually be something that you should probably look into doing or proving or showing. So it's kind of like you're having to prove yourself in some kind of way, because Sagittarius is talking about the proof, right? And she's 1/3 of that. Yeah. And the Queen of Pentacles is talking about working hard to prove something. Capricorn, this is going to be your Romance Angels Oracle card for Valentine's Day. Okay, let's see what you got here. True love. This is the romance of a lifetime. Okay, so for some of you, you guys could be feeling like, you really do have a connection with somebody. And true love could just be like a true feeling, or it could really be true love. You know what I mean? This is good. You might be realizing something, okay? That somebody probably is the one for you right now. If you were wondering it for quite some time, maybe like, a month or two or something, 3, then maybe you're realizing that it really is that right now, Capricorn. Or, truth and love might be at question here. Romance and love might be at question. And, time, right? And how the time is spent within that romantic love relationship and what truths lie within that. It could really be that as well, right? So that's a little bit more complex, because we are thinking about that too for some of you people out there. But for some of you that aren't dealing with any difficulties, right? Or any conflicts that need resolution or resolving, true love is really something. And the Queen of Pentacles does have a need to express something harmoniously. It's going to take time, right? So this true love is going to take time to develop into something more, right? You could be feeling that. But then it's saying that, true love does take time, right? For you to even realize how true that love is. It could be love at first sight, but what's true about love at first sight? That, you felt love at first sight, right? You may not know anything else about that person, so there really are still no truths there. There is love at first sight. So this is saying that, like, when you develop a relationship, and even if it is true love, it's going to take time, and there's going to take some effort too, you know. So this is saying whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're working on in terms of love, it's going to take time and effort, right? And you're going to have to earn it back, whatever it is. Or you're going to have to earn this true love, right? From whoever it is. Or they're going to have to earn it from you. Because this Queen of Pentacles is 1/3 Sagittarius. And then it's also Capricorn. And it's saying it's not going to come easy, right? Okay. Thank you, Cap. Aquarius, this is your card for this week. Let's see what it is. Queen of Rods. This is Cardinal Fire. So you could be dealing with an Aries. You could even be dealing with a Leo, because those two are very interchangeable by way of the sun. And that card came up this week, and it is actually in reverse. So the Queen of Rods is talking about, creativity and expression that comes through action, right? And this is talking about, applying things, putting things into motion, setting that wheel into rolling, you know what I mean? The Queen of Rods is 1/3 of Pisces. So it's talking about, your creativity. It needs to actually come from one place, one reality, and going to the next. The imagery, the dreaminess of the idea, the complexity of the idea is great. But then once you actually get it into action and put it into form, that's when you can really appreciate it. And this is talking about being really good at that process, right? It's talking about being good at business, and also focus and just your motivation, right? Because, the queens are all water. This is related to that 3 of Wands energy, and the Empress. And this is talking about, applying yourself and seeing what happens when you apply yourself, and the the gratitude that you have from yourself when you apply yourself. You know what I mean? But the Queen of Rods is definitely motivated. She is assertive, She wants to get things done for sure. Energetic, right? Vibrant energy. Okay? Very excited and very potent. You know what I mean? Can get anybody excited about what it is that you are doing. So that's something that we're also looking at, right? Yeah, so you could be waiting for something, definitely waiting for someone's attention, right, Aquarius? Or someone could be actually trying to get your attention, you know what I mean? And it's actually kind of like you're like noticing this, right? Because the Queen of Rods is taking notice, or people are taking notice of her, or it, or they, or that. And, it's kind of fun in a way to have this attention be put on you, or you like the idea that someone is grabbing your attention. Okay, Aquarius, this is your card, Romance Angels Oracle for this week. Let me turn it over. Oh, unrequited love. There is not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Okay, so you could be dealing with a fire sign person. It could be an Aries, it could be a Leo, but then it also could be a Sagittarius, right? And unrequited love. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, what does that mean? Does this mean that, like, we like each other but we can't be together? Or we are together but it's not destined to last because it's unrequited, right? What is that? I'm like, are there many different types? Or just a couple different types, But this says that there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. And the Queen of Rods is someone that actually really tries to force things, right? And this is somebody that's bringing a lot of attention or a lot of focus to something. And this is like somebody that is a little bit intimidating, or maybe even a little bit forceful, right? So the Queen of Rods is definitely direct, right? So even though there's like this energy of being direct, right, and really being like kind of attentive, or trying to be like right here in the face, right, because that's kind of like that energy of Aries, right, and any of the fire signs, But this is, the intentions, right? But this is also like what's destined, right? So this is somebody that's a little bit more involved, because fire is very involved, but it's saying unrequited love, right? So there's something that's actually kind of like somebody unrequited love, like somebody's feelings are kind of like not as passionate as the other, right? Because you got the Queen of Rods, passionate, and then unrequited love, not, right? So we're dealing with that. Okay, yeah, that's kind of actually short for you, Aquarius. Pisces, this is your card for this week. We're giving you tarot. The Chariot. Wow. The Chariot is Cancer energy, and it's talking about victory, moving forward. It's saying that you're not feeling stuck with the situation anymore, whatever that is. It could have even been something that was hidden from you before, just because you weren't prepared to sort of like, receive it. Because Cancer is a very receptive sign, and the Chariot is talking about weighing things out and making decisions. So there might have been a point where you were like stagnant, right? Because you were trying to weigh things out, how to move forward with the situation, how to sort of like align yourself with the developments of a situation. The Chariot is, wisdom, it's guidance, it's being guided by your intuition, right? It's also talking about relating to an experience, and relating to it in a way that is going to, kind of like move forward past any of the things that might have been holding it back, right? Whatever that is, whatever you're relating to, if it's a relationship with yourself, right? Because the Chariot does really talk about the emotional relationship that you have with yourself, and how you might have been holding yourself back emotionally. It's a 7, so it's related to the 7th house of Libra. Libra squares that Chariot of energy, talking about conflict and resolution, and that's talking about feeling victorious within an element of conflict and resolution, or within a situation of conflict and resolution, right? Because the 7s are talking about conflict, it's talking about opposition, right? And sometimes opposition can stop us, it can stop us from moving forward. But this is saying that the opposition is coming together and moving forward, in a meaningful way, in a more positive way, on a positive note, right? On a positive note, that's what we're talking about, right? With the 7, we're talking about pleasure, we're talking about harmony, we're talking about, like balancing a situation out too. So this is talking about how you're going to make the effort to balance a situation out, or to make something right, or to make good on something, right? Or to see yourself getting out of a situation that might have been, compromising, right? How you may have compromised yourself, or you might have been compromised, right? Or you might have been compromising before, because it talks about what you're willing to give up and what you're not willing to give up anymore, or what you are willing to give up, right? Because you're leaving something behind you. That's what the Chariot is talking about, leaving something behind you. And it could have something to do with a relationship, or it could have something to do with making a decision or a choice that affected you. It could have something to do with the fear of moving forward past something and leaving it behind you. You know what I mean? The change, the evolution, the growth, the cycle, right? All of that. Pisces, this is your Romance Angels Oracle card for this week. Happy Valentine's Day. Soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. Okay, so some of you might be feeling a deep connection with somebody, right? Or you might be questioning your deep connection with somebody, or you might just be feeling really deeply connected to a person that has really, touched your soul, perhaps. You know what I mean? The soulmate is related to like that energy of the sun, right? And it really is just talking about the depth of feeling, and the deep spiritual connection that you might have with someone, and you're questioning it. If you were questioning whether or not somebody was meant to be in your life, or maybe they were meant to show you something or teach you something, then maybe, you don't have to question it any longer. It's been shown to you, right? Through the action, right? Through the experience, through the feeling, right? Through the realism that has been shown, had, experienced, felt, all of it. I just said all that. Or some of you guys could just be experiencing, a situation where you are moving forward with someone that you feel like is your soulmate, perhaps. Or you might even just be feeling like, yeah, The Chariot and the Soulmate card, that's actually quite, you know, dreamy energy. It's almost kind of like, the Chariot with the Soulmate card to me is like really letting go and allowing yourself to live your truth, right? And move forward, move into that, because the sevens are talking about truth, right? And being honest and open with yourself about who you are really at the core, at the soul, right? And other people too. So if you're dealing with somebody else who you're involved with, then yeah, that soulmate energy is strong, and you might even be moving forward with a belief that they are, right? But for some of you, you're experiencing like a soul evolution, right? Or progression, right? That's what the sevens are also talking about, progressions that are coming, right? You know, in a situation. Yes, Pisces, I'm gonna leave you with that, definitely try to connect to this energy of your soulmate if you guys are looking for someone, because the Chariot does also talk about seeking something. So some of you could be seeking your soulmate, you know what I mean? You might have been stuck in one place before, right? Not really, acknowledging something, right? Acknowledging some sort of like personal truth, right? And now you've broken free from that which was holding you back, and you may have even set your soul free in some kind of way, or you might be feeling like that. Yeah? Or maybe you need to set your soul free. Okay, Pisces. Thank you. Okay, everybody, so I'm just going to give you cards that are at the bottom of the deck, and really they're both talking about optimism, So you have the Knight of Rods, which is talking about double fire energy of Sagittarius and moving forward. It's funny because behind that you have a card about Sagittarius. That's, Mercury and Sag, and then right behind that you have Jupiter in Pisces, which is very Sagittarius energy with it's just 9 Sagittarius, movement forward, growth, and then the 10, Wheel of Fortune, Jupiter energy, growth. Okay, so definitely, some of you are feeling things move forward, right? Maybe quickly, maybe if things didn't seem like they were in a place of you know, mobility, maybe they are now, right? So you're starting to feel things move forward, even within this retrograde energy. You know what I mean? So I don't, because it's in Pisces, right? Um, but the Knight of Rods is talking about sex too. So some of you could be dealing with like sexual energy, moving forward with that. Feeling very enthusiastic about yourself or your sex life. Yeah, and this is also just trying to find out some information, perhaps finding out the truth or knowing the truth, and now you're moving forward with that truth, knowing that truth. You know what I mean? And you're doing it, in a real truthful way. It's also knowing your truth and applying yourself and basing your goals and all of that on your truth, not anybody else's. And that's what the Knight of Rods teaches us too. It's talking about adapting to changes, right, as you move forward towards your goals, because you have to be willing to sort of like change and shape and shift, right? And if you're passionate enough about it, then you're going to allow yourself to, be very agile, right? Work with agility as well. So, the Knight of Wands is talking about, Knight of Rods, not Wands, the Knight of Rods, it's talking about optimism as you move forward, right? Not being intimidated, really. And then it says, stay optimistic about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance, you know what I mean? And this is pretty good, too, paired with this card, It's very promising, especially when you sort of like visualize and when you manifest in meaningful ways, you know what I mean? And you really work on it. It's not talking about just doing it one day. You have to sort of like work on that all the time, until it sort of comes to you little by little, right? But this is talking about anxiousness and wanting to move forward quickly, right? And it's saying like, just stay optimistic, right? Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. If you'd like to get a reading with me, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot there. I'm also NYC Kendrick. And on YouTube, I'm Providence Tarot. So like, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel there. Sorry about that look in the cards and everything there. But yeah, here you go. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.